Well, good evening, everyone. 6 o'clock. We'll go ahead and get started. My name is Shannon Boucher. I'm the Registrar of Voters for Santa Clara County. And I want to thank you for coming tonight to view our information and provide us any feedback or comments about our election administration plan. And thank those of you viewing online. We are live streaming this so that everyone in the public has an opportunity to view it if they're unable to make it tonight. So I'm going to go ahead and hand it over to Ina to do some introductory information about the format for this evening. And then we'll come back to me and we'll introduce everyone up here. And then we'll show a general information video about the Voters' Choice Act, which you may hear us say VCA. It's a little easier to say, but that's for the Voters' Choice Act. And then we're going to have several short presentations by topic by certain staff in our office. And then we will have comments and questions, opportunity for anybody who's interested. So thank you, Ina.
So a little bit of housekeeping information. We have our exits at the back of the room. The exits on your right leads outside of the building, while the exits in the center and to your left lead to the building's main hallway. Restrooms are out the door and to the left. And also in the back of the room, we have a handout table where, for those who have not had a chance to read the EAP, there are several copies available in all of our county service languages. We have English, Chinese, Spanish, Tagalog, Vietnamese, Khmer, Korean, Hindi, and Japanese. Please feel free to review the binders, but we ask that you not remove them from chambers. We also have information on how to join our Language Accessibility Advisory Committee and our Voting Accessibility Advisory Committee. We also have a VCA postcard that quickly explains the changes that VCA will be bringing. We have comment cards for the public comment part of the hearing. We ask that you please keep your comments to one card per topic so we can call them out according to the discussion topic based on the agenda time slots. To keep this meeting on track, we'll have to move on to the next topic at the end of the allotted time. If there's any time left over at the end, we will circle back to the comments that were missed. At the back of the room, we also have staff available to answer any questions that may be outside the scope of this meeting. And we also have, staff is also available for any language assistance that, if anyone should need it. We have staff available for help with Chinese, Spanish, Tagalog, Vietnamese, Hindi, and Korean. And so in order to keep the meeting running smoothly and to create an atmosphere of inclusion, we have created a few ground rules for this evening. For anyone coming up to the podium to give their comments or questions, we ask that you keep it to 2 minutes. Please keep your comments nonpartisan. All comments must be relevant to the VCA and the draft EAP. We may omit questions that are not relevant to the discussion. Those questions can be answered by the staff members that we have present this evening. No applause or vocal expression of support or oppositions to comments may be made, and please keep your electronics in silent mode. So tonight we have a number of subject matter experts here to help explain our election administration plan.
Thank you, Ina. We'll go ahead and start at the end. If you could introduce yourself.
My name is Liz Oviedo, and I am with the Ballot Layout Division. I'm the Election Division Coordinator.
Hi, I'm Chen Xu. I'm GIS Analyst with GIS Mapping Division.
Alfred Gonzalez, vote by mail.
Hello, my name is Mike Fong. I'm with the Election Logistics and Voting Systems Division.
Paulo Cheng with Precinct Operations Division.
Matt Morellis, Assistant Registrar of Voters.
Virginia Bloom, Assistant Registrar of Voters.
Eric Curhey, Public and Legislative Affairs.
Janoir Davis, Voter Registration Division.
Darren Tan, Administrative Services Division.
Okay. Thank you, everyone. So we'll go ahead and start a short video about the general information on the Voters' Choice Act.
Hello, everyone. Today, we would like to present the new way we will all be voting starting March 2020. In 2016, California passed the Voters' Choice Act, which changes the way elections are conducted. With the Voters' Choice Act, or VCA, voters will be able to choose when, where, and how to vote. VCA is meant to make it easier for you, the voters, to cast your vote and make your voice heard. VCA will be implemented starting with the March 2020 presidential primary election. With VCA, every registered voter will receive their ballot in the mail weeks in advance. You will then have 3 choices in which to return your vote by mail or VBM ballot. Voters can use the provided postage-paid envelope and mail their ballot back. You can also drop it off at ballot drop boxes strategically placed in various locations around the county. If you prefer to vote in person, you may also visit any vote center within the county to cast your ballot. Approximately 120 vote centers will be located countywide, equipped with new voting machines and able to provide services such as conditional voter registration. Instead of being able to vote only at your assigned precinct, you can now vote at any of the approximately 120 vote centers that may be close to your home, your work, schools, wherever there's a vote center. And instead of just having an election day, it'll be more like an election week. Voting will be available at the vote centers starting up to 10 days before Election Day. Vote centers will also provide conditional voter registration services. If you were unable to register by the deadline, you can go to any vote center and conditionally register and vote that same day. The ROV will process your information, and if the registration is valid, the ballot will be counted. To help with the implementation of VCA, the Santa Clara County Registrar of Voters developed an election administration plan. The plan outlines how vote centers and ballot drop box locations are chosen, how we are making voting more accessible, how we are providing language assistance for our county voters, and our plans to reach out to different communities to educate them about VCA. In order to develop this plan, we gathered input from you, our communities, so we could hear your concerns and address them to the best of our ability. Within the months of June and July, we held a total of 12 EAP consultation meetings. There were 2 general public meetings, 2 meetings that focused on accessibility concerns, and 1 meeting for each language community that we currently serve. Throughout these meetings, we heard your concerns and answered what questions we were able to at the time. We collected all your input and used it to help create the draft EAP. The EAP is a document that is built in collaboration with our community, which is why we need to hear your comments throughout this process. With each draft that we develop, we will be taking your feedback into account to make sure that we are addressing your concerns adequately. We have 2 public comment periods in which you can provide feedback. The first public comment period has just ended, and based on the comments we received then and during these 2 public hearings, an amended draft will be published. After the amended draft has been published, there will be 1 more public comment period before we send a final draft to the Secretary of State for approval. Your input is extremely invaluable to finalizing our election administration plan. Please, let us know what you think. Together, we can make 2020 a success. For more information, please visit our website at sccvote.org/voters choice. The draft EAP is posted there for your reference. You may also leave any feedback on the EAP website using the online feedback form. If you prefer, you may also download a feedback form and return it to us through mail or email. You may also email us at voterschoice@rov.sccgov.org. Please follow us on social media for more updates on the EAP and VCA in general. We will now hear a little more about what is included in the EAP.
So before we, start the presentations, I just want to reiterate a few things that you just heard or add a little bit of information. We held the 12 public consultations over in June and July, where we've received feedback We receive feedback through our online fillable form that we have posted online, or through the Voters' Choice email address that's appearing on the screen now. Also through our Language Accessibility Advisory Committee and through our Voting Accessibility Advisory Committee. So far we have a little over 200 pieces of feedback and/or comments that we have received on our EAP. We've built this EAP, this first 250-something page draft, with a lot of that feedback taken into consideration, examples of where you should reach out for media or advertising in the specific language communities, or locations for vote centers, items such as those. So this plan has been online for about a month now, and today is a culmination and the deadline that we're asking for information and feedback comments on the EAP. So I do want to thank those of you who may have already submitted comments or will be tonight, because it's very valuable information for us. So if you maybe think of something after you leave tonight, you can go back home and go ahead and go to our website and email us. We also, on our webpage, one of our top, on the line that kind of runs across the top over on the right, it says Voters' Choice Act. We have a lot of helpful information. That's probably where you went and viewed the EAP. Under that VCA tab, we have a page for our LAC committee, our VAC committee, our Voter Education and Outreach Coalition that we began. And we also have a new tab of election materials for the, what was the title? Promotional materials, where we've put like images of the VCA cards and information that any of you, if you wanted to share or put in a newsletter of your own, that those kind of graphics are already up there online. So you'll find a lot of valuable information and links on our webpage also, but I'm sure many of you may have already been there. So, but I just want to remind everyone who's listening. So I think we're ready to go ahead and start. We'll start with the division presentations on specific areas of the EAP.
Good evening. Again, my name is Alfred Gonzalez, and I'm the manager at the Vote by Mail division. So I have 3 topics to discuss. One is the Vote by Mail BBM pockets, official ballot drop box, and remote accessible vote by mail. The last countywide election was November 2018. Our voter registrations almost close to 900,000, and total vote by mail voters during that time is almost close to 700,000, and it's about 80% vote by mail. The reason I brought it up is on Voter Choice Act, implementations to vote by mail, what's going to happen is every registered voter will be receiving a vote by mail ballot countywide in Santa Clara. And part of it also, the drop box, we have to issue each 15,000 registered voter will have a drop box on those locations. Okay. Vote by mail pockets. This is the sample of the outgoing mail that they'll be receiving. The regular vote by mail voters will be receiving these envelopes to their mail. These mailings will be delivered 29 days prior to the election. Inside this pocket will be a blue return envelopes. Return envelopes are all prepaid for no cost. And if you notice that the envelopes have a circle in the middle, or the hole, there's actually double purpose for it. First, it will help the voters and vote by mail voter, registered voters employee to flag if the ballots are inside the envelope or not. And the other one, there's another hole right next to the red X. It's actually it helps the voter who are visually impaired to guide them where they start their signature and where they're going to end their signature. And part of it will be the official ballots inside the packet, the vote by mail instructions, and the famous I voted sticker. The next pockets we're going to be having will be the military and overseas voters. This mailing will happen between 60 days to 45 days before election. So this is a sample of the pockets that are going to be mailed out. And this is the return envelope for the military and overseas voters. A sample of the official ballots. The instructions and if the fax cover sheets, if the voter decided to fax their ballots to us. Official ballot drop box. Right now, we are in a process of recruiting our drop boxes location. Last 2018, we have about 55 drop box around Santa Clara County. And we drastically increased our number. We are actually close to 90 drop boxes locations so far. And majority of our drop boxes locations are Santa Clara County libraries, city libraries, campus drop box. We have some colleges, elementary schools, high schools, and unified school districts. We also have the county buildings. We have one here in 70 West Heading. We have drive-through at our Burger Drive location, and Valley Health Care, Superior Court, and inside locations. We also have inside locations of drop boxes. All of our city halls have 15 city halls we have here in Santa Clara County. We have drop boxes on the inside, and some of them also request outside drop boxes. Regarding the security, the drop boxes are secured. All the drop boxes we have outside for 24 hours, they do have chain. They have seals and locks on those boxes. Now the remote accessible vote by mail. Under the California law, it allows registered voters with disabilities as well as military and overseas voters only to use the remote accessible vote by mail system. Instead of using the paper ballots for the vote by mail, they can access through an electronic version of the ballot, which can be marked using their own assistive technology at their home. And they must print their ballot summary and return it to the registered voter for their ballots to be counted. These ballot selections are not, I repeat, not transmitted electronically through internet. And this is a sample of a screenshots of our website. The vote by mail section, if you go to drop down, the accessible voting, you click that section. It will take you to a sections where you can access for the remote accessible vote by mail system. And then once you click that, it'll take you to the informations that you need to fill in, residence address, election, and the birth date. And you click go. It will ask for the eligibility to access the system. You have to confirm that you are within the limitations of for this, that it's either you're a voter with disability or you're in a military or overseas voter. And then once you certify that all above are true, you have an options to print your election return materials, which is this part right here, ballot return instructions, It explains how it works. And then once you have that read, you go to Continue Ballot Application. You click that, and it will take you to, now we have a short video of how to fill in using the Democracy Lives.
Hello, and welcome to Secure Select, an accessible online application that provides voters with a simple and secure way to mark, review, and print their ballot from their own device. Step 1 of 3 is the first page a voter will begin their ballot marking experience on. Voters are able to make selections like you would on a traditional ballot before reviewing them and confirming your choices on the next page. If you try to vote for more choices than allowed, Secure Select will inform you of your overvote. In order to change your selection, you must first deselect a previous selection in that contest or measure, then select the option you'd like to vote for. When doing a write-in, first select the checkbox next to the write-in option, then enter the write-in you'd wish to vote for in the field provided. At any point, you may use the Continue button at the bottom of the page to move on to reviewing your ballot. This is page 2, the ballot selection review page. On this page, you are able to review the selections you've made. You will be given a notice on any contests or measures that you haven't chosen all the available number of selections you may make. To change any of your selections, use the Change button located next to each contest or measure. The Change button will return you back to the ballot marking page at the contest you've selected and allow you to make changes you would like. Once you are done marking, you may click the Go Back to Review page button and return to the review page to make further changes or confirm your choices by pressing the Continue button and moving on to the ballot printing page. To print your ballot, select the blue Print Selections button. You will be presented with the same print dialog box you encountered when printing anything else in the web browser you are using. Follow the prompts your device gives you to print off your ballot and confirm it printed correctly before moving on. Once you have printed your ballot and verified that it is correct, you may return your ballot to your local elections office with the instructions they've provided. The ballot you receive from Secure Select will not visually match the traditional ballot you'd receive at your local polling location. Instead, your ballot will print with the contest and measures listed in the order they appeared, with only the selections you made shown after. Above that, you will see the election name, your voting precinct and split, and your ballot style. Pause this video on this screen to further examine an example of this ballot, or contact your local elections office for further information. If you are sure you are finished marking and printing your ballot, you may press the End Session button to finish your voting experience. Once you press the End Session button, you will no longer be able to go back to change selections or reprint the ballot you have just marked. So be sure that your ballot is correct before ending your session. Once you have finished these steps and ended your session, you have completed your ballot marking experience with Secure Select. Thank you for watching, and thank you for using Secure Select. Hello.
All right, so the next presenter will be Jiangxi. She's going to be talking about GIS mapping. Thank you.
Good evening, I'm Chen Shiye. I'm with the GIS Mapping division. Today I'm going to talk about the process of using geographic information system to help select vote center locations. Under the new VC model, voting sites change is one of the major changes, so we want to use data to help us find the best voting locations available. When we look at vote center locations, we consider these 3 factors: facility, socioeconomic, and geographic factor. Precinct operations and vote-by-mail divisions are working on the facility aspect. I'm going to cover the rest too. To begin, we have collected data from American Community Survey, RV voter database, public transportation data, and county GIS data. We then analyze this data using GIS software and then visualize results into maps. Firstly, I'm going to talk a little bit more about the geographic factor. We have established boundaries as guidelines to help us distribute vote center locations across the county. Facility factor is very important, but if that's the only factor we look at, we may end up with a lot of clustering in some areas, while in other areas, people have to travel long distance to get to any vote center. To avoid that from happening, we have divided the county into 25 11 days vote center area and 120 for 4 days vote center area. For ballot drop boxes, we have 80 areas. So how do we establish these boundaries? We follow two rules, number and geography. On the number side, each 11 days vote center serves 50,000 voters, each 4-day vote center serves about 10,000 voters, and each ballot drop box serves about 15,000 voters. And on the geography side, we try our best to follow city boundaries, and then neighborhoods, major roads, and local roads. And after we establish those boundaries, our precinct operations and vote by mail division are trying their best to recruit one location for each area. But what if there are multiple options in one area? Then we are going to look at socioeconomic factors. And for this factor, we have developed the model called DOTS. This suitability model considers the factors listed on the slides. And these factors are required by the state to be considered for vote center location selection. And to develop this model, we have divided the county into 0.5-mile grids. And at each grid, we give score 1 to 5 for each factor. For example, we want to place vote centers close to population centers. So for the factor population center, we're going to assign a low score if an area has low population density, and assign a high score if there is high population density. And at the end, after we get all the scores for each individual factors, we're going to add up to get a total score. And this map here shows the total score for the entire county. And the darker area, the blue area, shows the area meet more of the requirements, which means they have higher score. And the lighter color means they meet less of the requirements. And then we overlay the potential vote centers on top of it, so we can see which locations meet more of the requirements and preference are given to those locations. So our boundary, facility, and socioeconomic factors together help us determine the best locations for vote centers. Thank you. Next, I'm going to give it to my coworker, Paulo.
Good evening. My name is Paulo Cheng with Precinct Operations, and I'm going to talk to you about vote centers, vote center staffing and training, and then our outreach goals. Approximately 125 vote centers will be available throughout the county prior to and including Election Day. Voters will have 11 days, including 2 weekends, to vote. 20% will open on February 22nd, 2020. That's 10 days prior to Election Day. One easy way to remember this date is it's going to be the second or 2 Saturdays prior to actual Election Day. The remainder of the vote centers will open on February 29th, 2020. That's 3 days prior to Election Day, or the Saturday before Election Day. New voting technology will enable voters to vote anywhere in Santa Clara County, meaning regardless of where you are in the county, as long as you are a voter in this county, you'll be able to vote your local home ballot anywhere at any vote center throughout the county. Most services will be available, or the vote centers will provide most services available at the Registrar of Voters office. Vote center implementation for the hours, basically for the days prior to Election Day, every vote center will be open 8 hours per location as much as possible. On Election Day itself, it will be a regular Election Day, 7 a.m. through 8 p.m., or until the last person votes at the vote centers. Some of the VCA voter guidelines: for every 50,000 voters area, we will have one 11-day vote center. And then within every 10,000 voters area, one 4-day vote center will be needed. And to help us come up with how many vote centers we'll need for the different days, we have, with our mapping division, created this grid, applied this grid to the county to help us define the areas that are 50K and 10K areas. And those will then those have given us the numbers that we need to have how many vote centers we'll be needing. And of course, having that grid also aids us in finding out the locations that we would like to have a vote center based on demographic information and so much more. The site selection, as my colleague Chen-Shi talked about, we have approximately 14 location considerations. And of course, the most important thing is site availability, and a mix of other criteria per vote center or per facility will then dictate what locations we can use for the voting period. For vote center staffing and training, we will have a mix of workers. We're going to have hourly workers, stipend workers for a variety of days of work. For hourly workers, these will be, in fact, county workers. So any one of you would like to help us in the future, you can apply with the county to become staff at the vote center. We will have leads, we'll have clerks, and the leads will be overseeing the voting process at each vote center. The clerks will be the staff behind the new voting equipment. We'll also have stipend workers. These will be the volunteers as in the past. We're also planning on having many high school students to help us out. And these will be our election aides and performing a variety of functions, including greeting the voters. They are the ones who will be helping us out with providing the correct information, asking incoming voters to the vote centers what is it that they need that day. Are they ready to vote? Do they need to fill in some paperwork, update information, so they can go to the correct line. The time of employment will be, anywhere between 1 day to 11 days and even longer, because we do provide training for anyone working at the vote centers. Ideally, we'd like anyone that wants to help us out on election day or for the election period to commit to work for us for a few days. It's much easier for us to have someone that can work with us for those many days, so we know we have enough staff to work at the vote centers. For more information on this, how you can help us, you can always visit our website at www.secvote.org. Visit it as much as you can in the future. We'll be updating it with more information on how to apply and how you can help us at the vote centers. For the outreach goals, the outreach goals is for us to highlight the voting model transition and inform voters of the upcoming changes. We want to educate, we want to improve the voting experience with the new vote center model. We also want to identify and increase participation in underperforming communities. We welcome public engagement, and we absolutely want to build partnerships to expand civic engagement opportunities within all communities. To that effect, we have created a coalition, which we call it the Voter Education and Outreach Coalition, or VOC for short, in which we are able to provide information and do a quick train-the-trainers session with all these participating communities so that they can go into the community and spread the word of the new voting model taking effect in March 2020. So in the end, we want to provide voter education, literature, civic and local government resources. But the most important thing is we want to make sure that all the voters feel informed, competent, and confident under the new voting model. So that's it from us at Present Operations. So I'd like now to pass the presentation to Ballot Layout Division, and that will be Liz Oviedo to my left. Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. Again, my name is Liz Oviedo with the Ballot Layout Division. I'll be talking briefly about languages, official ballots, and county voter information guides. Santa Clara County is federally mandated to provide written materials in Chinese, Spanish, Tagalog, and Vietnamese, in addition to English. The state currently mandates our county to provide facsimile ballots in Korean and Khmer in targeted areas. In recent years, we were also mandated to provide Hindi and Japanese languages. As part of the implementation of the Voters' Choice Act, our department will be producing official ballots for the March 3rd primary election in English, Spanish, Chinese, Tagalog, Vietnamese, Korean, Khmer, Japanese, and Hindi. All ballot language versions will be produced for the optical scan paper ballots, accessible touchscreen ballots, accessible audio ballots, and remote accessible ballots for the military and overseas and people with disabilities. The chart on the screen displays a comparison of the official ballot materials produced in the presidential primary election in 2016 versus the number of ballots that we're projecting to produce in the March 2020 primary election. Our department will be generating twice as many unique ballot types. These numbers are based on the amount of ballot types in a primary election, which is typically over 100 ballot types, times the languages, times the parties. The county voter information guides are also known as CIVIGs, and they are produced by ballot types, languages, and parties. The vote centers and the county website will be equipped with ebooks, which is an electronic version of the county voter information guides, or CIVIGs. The county voter information guides and ebooks will be produced in the 5 federally mandated languages of English, Chinese, Spanish, Tagalog, and Vietnamese. The Voters' Choice Act expands the language services countywide. For example, if a voter lives in South County and works in North County, will be able to go to a vote center near the work and ask for a ballot of their home precinct in their preferred language. The VCA implementation provides language services at vote centers and increases the amount of bilingual election materials. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Hello, I'm Eric Curhey with Public and Legislative Affairs. Our division serves to let the community and media know about developments in a couple of different ways. One way is direct outreach to media outlets, letting newspapers, television, radio, and online sources know that there's something newsworthy going on. And we certainly consider voters' choice to be a newsworthy topic. We've issued press releases on the adoption of VCA, as well as announcing the opportunities for public input that led to the creation of this election administration plan. And if you heard about this meeting through the media, it was likely due to last week's press release. Going forward toward implementation, we will be mounting a campaign to keep media outlets informed and hopefully interested in upcoming changes, and announce opportunities for the public to come learn about the Voters' Choice Act, as well as our new voting system. This will include information about accessibility options in the new voting system, as well as the improved options for those who speak another language. Public and Legislative Affairs also handles the advertising component. We have historically advertised in more than 30 media outlets in all formats: print, television, radio, online, VTA buses, and more. We advertised when we were looking for folks to volunteer at the polls, and advertised when we wanted to let people know about vote by mail or early voting options. This time, we're looking at a considerably larger campaign. Before, it was during the 6 to 8 weeks leading up to the election. We're going 3 times that long to get the word out early and then really inundate folks before the election. We've previously run ads in publications such as Epoch Times, Vietnam Daily, World Journal, and other publications that are read by language minority communities. We're expanding our roster of publications and, based on input we've gleaned from public EAP meetings, are looking into adding some specific outlets, such as shopper ad papers you'll find at ethnic markets. This outreach effort includes public service announcements. We have a sample PSA on our website that we are in the process of translating and plan to put it out through our vendor networks as well as community partners. The advertising and PSAs will include information about the toll-free voter assistant hotline for languages, as well as the availability of ballots in accessible format and how to get a remote accessible vote-by-mail ballot. We are also sending out 2 mailers to every registered voter in the county to let them know about the change. We also handle the social media component. We're on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and Nextdoor. We have daily posts on a variety of election-related subjects, and our Voters' Choice Act promotion began immediately following its approval in April. We did multiple posts about the EAP and this public hearing, and we'll be using all platforms and boosting posts leading into the VCA implementation. That includes targeting specific areas around our vote centers to let people know where their new voting location will be. We have some other new things up our sleeves and are in talks with local sports franchises to help get the word out. We're excited about the potential here, as well as other ways to educate more Santa Clara County residents about the upcoming changes to the election model. This is by far the biggest ad campaign the Registrar of Voters has ever undertaken, and it's coming together right now. We're excited about it. You'll be seeing our ads out soon as we roll out your new voting experience. Thank you, and I will pass the mic to Mike Fong, Election Logistics and Voting Systems.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Again, my name is Mike Fong. I am with the Elections Logistics and Voting Systems. And tonight, the 3 subjects that I'll be covering is the voting security, the ballot return, and the voting equipment. First of all, the facilities that we have, we do utilize our surveillance system, secure network, and limited access to ensure security of all voting equipment, i.e., whenever you come in and out of our building, we will know, and we know who will come and go. And there are 2 facilities that we have that we're using right now, which is the ROV facility itself and the junction location. First, this is a burger facility where you're looking at the burger 2 on the left side and burger 1 on the right side. And all of the public activities, such as the couriers or any ballots that are being returned, is happening at the front of the building. And all of the other activities, such as drayage or materials that are being sent out to vote centers, are being sent through the back of the warehouse, in a sense, just keeping the 2 operations separated. And this is a junction facility. Again, the public side is where all the activities are going on, where whether the logistics groups are meeting and leaving, and or the trucks that are picking up the voting systems, which are going out the back of the building. The drayage operation we will be conducting using a typical moving truck type, and all of the materials that are going to the vote centers are going to be sealed and locked in cages and or secured during the transport, so that when it gets to the polling place, it will be unpacked and, in a sense, utilize after verification of all the information that is in there in terms of the security side. And for the support of all of the sites that the precinct operation is going to have, we are going to have logistics and supply centers strategically placed throughout the county. There are 20 locations. Typically, there will be 1 truck and 3 vehicles. Here's an image of where all the trucks are going to be located strategically. And kind of going back, each truck will serve approximately 6 locations because there are 3 vehicles attached to each truck. In a sense, each vehicle will be supporting 2 facilities. And these vehicles will be providing support in terms of logistics, in terms of Tier 1 tech support, and any other backup equipment and or supply needs at the vote centers. For the ballot return logistics, we are going to be using couriers. Some of you heard this before. Some of you have volunteered with me in the past, where we will be bringing back ballots by teams. And there will be also ballots such as the VBM envelopes from the drop boxes also will be brought back by teams. And this is a Burger 2 facility. The logistics of all the ballots being returned, they will be strategically sent to different locations throughout the building where they will be processed, counted, whether it's sorted and separated, many other different formats. And the voting equipment that's going to be at the vote centers are the tabulating machines, which will be up to 3 per center, and accessible ballot marking devices, there will be up to 8. Electronic poll books, up to 11. And ballot on demand printers, up to 5. And these equipment, even though there are minimum and maximum at each site, we will have additional equipment on our supply centers so that in case of any backup needs and or replacement needs, we will have them available so that there will be very short time between replacement and or recovering of a process. And at the ROV, we will have small ballot scanners. This is to process small batches of ballots, and large ballot scanners where when we have thousands and thousands of ballots that are returned, we can process them on these large scanners. And there are 8 small ones and there are 10 large ones. And to support with the ballot reviews, we will have 16 workstations to be able to review and process each batch that goes on. And after all the ballots are counted, we do have a package and seal process where the ballots are all organized in a precinct and the type of ballots where we will be organizing and storing it in a secure location where in case of a recount or any verification, we are able to retrieve the exact batch or the exact amount of ballots designated for whatever precinct or the district. And the technology that's going to be utilized in our office are Cisco phone system. This is for the customer service. Tier technical support plan. This is where our information system group, as well as we are, providing multiple tier support. And we have secure connection at the vote centers where only authorized equipment will be connected to any form of connection back to the ROV and or the cloud. And there are cybersecurity. We are fully prepared, aware, and we are working with multiple organizations to be sure that we are informed of what's going on in the cybersecurity world. And we also have a track it system. This is for verification of all the materials that are being returned. And also asset management system. This is where we verify all the materials that go out and are coming back and are accounted for. And that's it from my end. Thank you very much.
So thank you everyone for listening. We will take a quick 5-minute break to give you an opportunity to fill out the comment cards with your questions. Please remember to keep the comments at 1 topic per card. You can write as many questions as you want per topic, but please separate the topics using separate cards. There are extra comment cards in the back if you want them. We will be reading out your comments and questions for you, so please indicate on the card whether you want to come up to the podium to ask your questions yourself. And that's it. So 5-minute break. Okay, we can get ready to start the comment period. We are going to have a maximum of 10 minutes per agenda topic. So we will start with vote by mail. The only question we have, I think, was from Jack Mahoney for a comment about VBM, vote by mail. Did you want to come up? Yes, we have one question, or whatever your questions are per topic. We want to make it targeted so that we have enough time to cover all the topics.
Okay. I'll skip that one. Just go to the next one.
Okay. Does anyone else have any vote by mail questions or comments? Okay. Can you come up to the podium, please?
All right. Question would be, vote by mail. You mail out the envelope. I have seen in low-income areas, multiplex facilities, where mail gets picked up, not necessarily by the person to whom it is addressed. And the other portion would be, if it's picked up, okay, UPS, FedEx, home deliveries, people follow those trucks around. What's to keep somebody from following the Postal Service around and picking up those envelopes after they have been delivered? It's an issue. I don't have an answer. I have a concern.
And I do just want to ask, the podium here has a speaker built in, so if you could come up there and speak, since we are recording this and allowing people to view this as the presentations and the comments go, that way they can just hear you. Appreciate it.
Excuse me. So the question, just to repeat it for the recording, was basically about what happens if somebody takes somebody's vote by mail ballot out of their mail who wasn't the person that was the intended recipient. So there are a couple of ways that this can be addressed. The first thing to say is that under state law, every single vote by mail ballot that gets returned back to our office is signature checked, where we compare the signature so there's a signature that's required to be placed on the return envelope of the vote by mail ballot. And by law, we have to compare that signature to the signature that's on the voter registration card on record in our office. And we have to, make sure that those two match within a range of confidence before we can count that ballot. So that is a security measure, just to make sure that somebody isn't going and taking somebody else's ballot and sending it back, that even if that were to theoretically happen, we do have safeguards in place that would prevent those ballots from getting counted. The other thing is, so the flip side of that is what happens to the person who now has been waiting for their ballot, who didn't get it and needs the opportunity to vote. So we will reissue a replacement ballot to somebody who contacts our office. There are included instructions in the vote by mail ballot for if somebody makes a mistake or loses theirs or gets damaged somehow, they spill coffee on it, whatever, that they can contact our office to get a replacement ballot. That similar information is on our website and in other materials that we put out. So a person could contact our office and get a replacement ballot, and at the same time, as a last resort, they could also go to any of our vote centers or to our office during the early voting hours and vote in person or receive a replacement ballot in person. We will be using electronic poll books at the vote centers, so we will be able to tell when somebody comes in to vote at a vote center and they've already received a vote by mail ballot, whether they've returned that ballot yet or not. So the vote center worker will be able to look them up and see, okay, if they already have a ballot returned, the system will prevent them from issuing them a new ballot. but if they have or it would require them to vote a provisional ballot if they insist that wasn't correct, or if they check and see that the vote by mail ballot has not yet been returned, they'll basically cancel the outstanding ballot and issue them the new ballot in the vote center. So either way, we have safeguards in place to make sure that only one ballot is actually cast and counted by each voter.
Any other vote by mail questions? Okay, then we can go ahead and get comments about vote centers. We have one question here. What happens if someone comes into a vote center wearing electioneering or partisan piece of clothing?
So our training that we give to our poll workers and the people who work at the vote centers is to ask somebody to remove or cover that article of clothing. In the case if it's like a hat or a jacket or a pin or something that is more kind of external and easier to remove, we'll ask them to remove that. If it's something like a shirt or something that's more difficult to remove, we're planning on having ponchos, materials at the polls at the vote centers to enable somebody to cover up. It is against the law to have the electioneering materials in the vote centers. So we do train our staff to handle it respectfully, discreetly, and quickly, but we will ask them to cover up or remove.
Okay, I gave my question to somebody here. What happened last time? Somebody wore a red hat that said Make America Great Again. Says nothing about Trump. And I was told, I called in and they said, you can leave it on. But people that work there saying you should take it off. So. Last time somebody came in wearing a red hat that says Make America Great Again. Says nothing about Trump or anything. And I called in because a worker she said he has to take it off. And he wasn't going to take it off. And so I called in and they said he can keep it on. But I think you should get clear on that because it doesn't say Trump or whatever else. Yeah. So.
In general, if something was like a recognized campaign slogan or a piece of campaign material from a candidate, you would similarly treat that as electioneering. There may be some cases in which, because we're not going to tell our workers to forcibly remove somebody's, hat. So if somebody is argumentative, there may be just the decision made to allow them to vote and let them leave. But in general, our direction is going to be to ask them to cover up or remove because it is a violation of the law.
I think you can hear me. I think we need to have that.
Sorry, we need to have, for recording purposes, sorry.
I'm
Thank you.
sorry. I think we need to have that law printed at every place because I'm a field inspector. And these things come up and you say it's against the law. And some people say, what law? So I think we need to have something in writing that we can show them so that we're not just spouting off something that they don't think is true. So it's that would just be kind of a backup for the people who are working in the polls or any place.
Yeah, thanks. We'll take that into consideration.
And again, if when people would like to speak, if you could come up to the podium, we are recording this for online viewers, so thank you.
Okay, we have Efren Delgado who wanted to ask a question about vote centers.
Hi.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah, it's awesome. So I'll be here a number of times, speaking on behalf of some of Asian Law Alliance's partner organizations. For this particular topic, the Vietnamese American Roundtable, specifically Huy Tran, wanted me to share that he's glad to see that the Vietnamese American Community Center is listed as a potential vote center location. And I quote, "I would like to suggest that Yerba Buena High School be considered as an additional or alternative location that could work well in serving the Vietnamese community." Thank you.
Thank you. Jack Mahoney, did you have a question about vote centers?
So this isn't a question as much as a comment, but I'd also like to start by just thanking the registrar for holding this session. I know this was not originally scheduled, and this was an adjustment that was made to accommodate the community organizations, and I just really appreciate that on behalf of SVCF and our community partners. My comment on the vote centers, I think this is a really strong list that you've started. I'd encourage you to consider including more community centers and continuing that outreach, particularly to language minority communities in and around Santa Clara County. I also, and I'm echoing comments that we've heard on behalf of our community partners and grantees, that the co-location of police buildings with vote centers does cause some alarm in communities, particularly where there is an existing fear of law enforcement in the current political climate. So that's something I'd just like to express that maybe you factor into your considerations as you move forward to advance those locations. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Were there any other comments for vote centers? Okay, then I guess we can move on to ballot drop-off locations. So we have a question. Is there going to be surveillance at the drop-off locations? Ballot drop-off locations.
There's not necessarily going to be surveillance at the drop-off locations. That is not a requirement in law and as part of the regulations for ballot drop-box. Also, there are potentially concerns about people having concerns about being surveilled while they're dropping off their ballots. We do have several security precautions, though, that we have in place around the design and sealing and locking of the drop boxes, but right now, like video surveillance is not part of that.
Okay, Jack Mahoney, did you have a question about or a comment about ballot drop boxes?
Yeah, I did. Okay, so can you hear me now? This is okay. All right. So my question on or I guess comment again on the ballot drop box locations is if I believe I spoke with someone from the registrar about partnerships with grocery stores or other places, which are non-government entities where community members are gathering on a regular basis as they're going about their daily lives. In other counties that SVCF has worked with and, in partners with the VCA counties, we've seen a lot of success with grocery store partnership chains. So I'd encourage you to consider that. And then on the Dropbox locations, it was good to see in the presentation from Alfred that when there is a Dropbox that is indoors, a public entity, that there's also going to be an outdoor location, because I think it's not ideal if the drop-off hours are limited to just the working hours of that facility, if it's just 8 to 5 p.m. or what have you. So that's just another comment. I'll be back shortly.
Well, and actually, just to clarify, not every drop box that's inside has an outside one, is my understanding, at every inside location. And I just want to make sure, I believe that may be what you thought in what you said. Yeah. So there are some that...
That's correct. Most of our insides are city halls, and some of the city halls are small enough to have an outside one, so they prefer just the inside, like Monte Sereno, small city halls.
But we do publicize the hours for the different drop boxes, which ones are open during certain business hours, which ones are 24 hours. And we have been running a very successful vote by mail drop-off plan for many years now, so our voters have been very aware of it, but we will take those comments into consideration. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments about ballot drop-off locations? Okay, then we can move on to language accessibility. Efren Delgado, did you have a comment?
This time around, I'll be speaking on behalf of Asian Americans for Community Involvement. And I quote, under subsection titled Language Minority Communities to be Served, it is mentioned that services will be provided in Chinese as federally mandated. Their question is, will the written materials be in traditional Chinese or simplified Chinese? We recommend the use of traditional Chinese for printed materials, as this version of written Chinese should be the most accessible to folks. Thank you.
Liz?
Hi, yeah, so we currently provide traditional characters in all our Chinese translations.
Okay, Jack Mahoney, did you have a question about language accessibility?
Yeah.
You two should stay in the front row.
Yeah, we'll sit here. On the language accessibility, again, like Efren, I'm echoing the comments that we've heard from our community partners or our grantees. In this case, for several of them, one of the things that they've expressed is they'd really appreciate more detail on the workshops, which are mandated by the state of California and the federal government, the in-language workshops. And I'd also, having worked with San Mateo County and other counties that have tried to comply with this requirement and also get as many community members to actually attend those workshops, I'd really encourage you to advertise within the ethnic community's media. Facebook ads has been really successful, and also pair those workshops with existing community events, which are scheduled throughout the year, so that you actually get people there and it's not a waste of the registrar's time or the community member's time. So thank you.
Thank you. And yes, there's limited information in the EAP currently about that, but we do plan on having the required workshops. We will be doing those in the languages and the accessibility. And we're still in the planning and scheduling phases. We plan on holding those closer to the election for the voters, so more in January and February. And we definitely, it is not our ideal place to hold them at our office, so our goal is to reach out into the community and have the events, just as you said, in certain areas or a language community center. So thank you.
Were there any other comments for language accessibility? And then we can go ahead to voting accessibility. Does anyone have any comments? Okay, then we can go ahead to outreach. We have the usual suspects. Efren, please.
We do appreciate it all.
Yes, so for this section, I believe 3 partner organizations of Asian Law Alliance have provided feedback, so I'll start with the first, Vietnamese American Roundtable, and I quote, while potentially effective with younger portions of the Vietnamese community, I believe public notices via direct mailers in English will not be effective in reaching out to older generations of Vietnamese folks. I recommend that the ROV invest resources in Vietnamese radio and print mediums in order to effectively reach out to older Vietnamese voters with this initial VCA information. The radio and print outlets already listed in the EAP are good options, in addition to a few others I have listed further along in my comments. Now pertaining to the ethnic media in 2 sections, the first, outlet suggestions on his behalf, and section 2, tips and insight. Radio recommendations are Tan Phuong Media, TAN space PHUONG Media, Ha Van's program on KSJX on 1500 AM, Vien Tao Radio, spelled VEN space THAO Radio on AM 1290, and the last one is AM 1290 Kaza, KAZA. Print recommendations, Cali Today, Phu Nu Kali and Thang Mo, which is spelled Thang space Mo. VAR's last comment, and I quote, airtime on the Vietnamese radio stations can be acquired either through the station owners or with the specific programs. Like with most radio stations, you may have to purchase time slots, but there are cases where the stations have been open to providing free time when approached about content that is helpful to the Vietnamese community. The best times to acquire airtime with these stations will be during commute rush hours, daytime hours for older folks, and late evenings, specifically for Ha Van's program. Now on to feedback from the Center for Employment Training. And I quote, I believe public notices via direct mailers in English will not be effective in reaching out to the Spanish-speaking community in the San Jose area. As a program, CET has found that disseminating information via videos that are in Spanish is much more effective with the Latinx Spanish-speaking community. I recommend that the ROV invest time in developing a short video in Spanish that includes the information on the public notice mailers that can be sent out via text blast for CBOs such as CET, who are able to directly send information to its program participants' phones. In addition, this type of video could be displayed at CETs and other CBOs, waiting areas in our offices where there is a consistent flow of community members. The second section of CET's feedback consists of some ethnic media recommendations. Radio Láser 93.7. For print, she recommends Evergreen College's DACA newsletter, and Telemundo. We weren't sure if we saw it on there, but I did see it on the presentation, so perhaps that was an addition. And the last two comments are from Asian Americans for Community Involvement. Their first, and I quote, we believe the public notices via direct mailers can be more effective if they were sent to voters in their preferred languages as indicated on their voter registration forms. We wonder if the ROV can utilize its database on voter language preference when printing and distributing the direct mailers in an attempt to increase the likelihood that folks will read and retain the information. And the last comment, some ethnic media suggestions on their behalf. KKVN 1430 AM radio, which targets the Vietnamese community, and KTSF TV channel 26, which targets the Chinese community. And that is all. Thank you.
Well, you had one question. Thank you for all of that great feedback, and some of that I believe we have received. The one question in one of the last ones you were reading about, I hope the registrar of voters, can they use their database for the bilingual mailing? So that is our plan. We will be translating all of our direct mailers, and we use, as you know, the voter registrations, they can select a language preference, so we'll be able to use that in our outreach.
That's awesome. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Well, first off, I want to begin by saying that having worked with your outreach team, I think you've all done a fantastic job so far, and I'm really pleased to see the progress that you've made in reaching out and explaining these changes to the community. In terms of, well, I'm not sure if this is actually for this comment section, but in terms of outreach, again, I think it's really important to have a lot of in-language presentations going above and beyond what's legally required by the state, as you've done in other areas, I think would be phenomenal. And partnering with community organizations, and SVCF is happy to make those connections where they don't exist, although I know from experience that you have a lot of those connections already in place, which I think you should leverage as you begin to do this work. In terms of the outreach and media budget, which I'm not sure falls under this area, but I figured I'd just say it so I don't have to come up again, I think we've seen in other counties that particularly with broadcast and television media, significant portions of the outreach budget have been spent on, for example, television ads, which are reaching a lot of voters, but a lot of voters that are outside Santa Clara County because we live in a 9-county media market. So I strongly encourage you to think about the percentage of the voters that you're reaching, which are actually in Santa Clara County. A lot of, although I know there's a lot of criticism of online and social media advertising, they're very good at targeting the voters you want to reach, and achieving a really good value for money. And so I'd encourage you to think about that as you go through, and again, am appreciative of the work that's been done thus far. Thank you.
as a suggestion, I voted stickers, very, very popular. And my thought is, my parent will vote for children. If we work with the school districts, my parent will vote. And with the mail out, maybe an extra sticker that besides I voted, my parent voted. Just ideas.
Thank you for the comments. Are there any further comments for outreach? Okay, then you can go ahead to voting system and security. Our question is, how are you going to know who is voting?
So in general, as I mentioned before, we are going to have electronic poll books at the vote center. So so every time somebody comes in to vote at a vote center, we're going to be checking and making sure that they have registered to vote. We're also going to be checking and making sure that they haven't already returned their vote by mail ballot, or they haven't already gone to another one of the vote centers down the street, that they're not, just jumping from vote center to vote center and trying to cast votes. So that's one way that we're going to be checking that. Another safeguard that we have in place in terms of verifying voters is, as I mentioned, for all of the vote by mail ballots that are coming out, every single one of those that gets returned is subject to signature verification, and that is done by human eye, and we have multiple layers of review on that. So we're not just trusting a software program or an algorithm to perform that signature matching. Finally, I just want to point out that California now has a statewide voter registration database, the VoteCal system. So another thing that happens when somebody is registering to vote or is submitting a vote by mail ballot or submitting a provisional ballot, or somebody who conditionally registers to vote, now that the law says somebody can conditionally register and vote a provisional ballot after the registration deadline. In all cases, we are checking against the statewide database and making sure also that somebody's not registered in multiple counties, or that if they are, their new registration takes precedence over the old one gets canceled. If somebody does, if we issue a ballot to somebody by mail and then they go and register somewhere else, we get the notification from VoteCal so that we will cancel that outstanding ballot that hasn't been returned yet. And similarly, if somebody has already voted in our office, that information will get conveyed to the other counties through VoteCal as well. So we do, and then the VoteCal is also enables us to check new registrations against DMV records and the Social Security number and everything like that. So there are multiple layers of safeguards in place to help us, protect the integrity of the voting.
Any further questions about voting system and security?
In your video, you had an online where they can vote and print it out and have somebody, if they can't, have somebody bring it. How can you confirm that that is the person who voted online? That's a big security question that I have, because if I can go in online and my daughter says, "I'll vote for you, Mom, because you don't understand this," how do you know? That's the thing, if they change it.
Right. So the way that the remote accessible vote by mail system works is it really isn't online voting, it's online ballot delivery. But what happens is, as Alfred explained, at the time that the ballot kind of gets presented to the voter, that online connection is cut. So there's no data being transmitted back. So we're relying 100% on the ballot getting printed out and returned to us.
I understand that part. That part I understand. I'm saying that you don't know if that person who's signing that envelope actually voted. Somebody else could have voted and said, you signed this. That's my concern. That's called elder abuse type of thing. And, oh, Mom, you know, we can't get you to the voting, or Dad, we can't get you to the voting. We can do it online. Sign here. I know that that's something that there's no control over. There is no control over that. But that's my concern with that section of the voting. It's hard enough when they're bringing in the ballots, you still don't know if they're the ones who did it or whatever. But that is even worse because there's totally no control. So that's just maybe a comment, not necessarily need an answer because you really can't answer that. I just want to make sure that I have an issue with that. And I think there's going to be a lot of people who have an issue with that because it's called elder abuse, or somebody who is able to vote but maybe can't work the computer. I'll do it for you. Here, sign here. So that's concern. That's all.
Thank you for that. And just, I mean, I just will reiterate that that those ballots do need to get signed, just like, so that they essentially function like a vote by mail ballot. You know, certainly if something were to happen like that, that would be a concern, and that would be a criminal act. And I guess I would just, want to reiterate to voters that, when they are signing that envelope, they are attesting that they completed that ballot. But to the extent that that anybody is aware of anything like that happening, if they reported that to our office, we do refer any suspected cases of voter fraud or criminal, election abuse to the district attorney's office, and the Secretary of State also has a voter fraud investigation unit that we refer cases to.
Not to be an anarchist, but what would prevent a group from coming in to a polling place and signing in and going to a ballot, a polling site, and just staying there until their bladder needs relief? But I could take 8 people and fill up all of the booths and stay there. I don't know if we have a time limit. I do, but something for you to think of. Thank you.
Thank you again for that comment. Is there any other comments or questions for voting system and security? Okay, any other comments about VCA in general? Okay, well, oh, there's one.
Welcome.
In the past, you had a roster associated with each one, and you used to hang that by the door at the election precincts, and it was to enable others to go out and get out the vote in their precinct. I've never seen it used, and in reading your documents, it seems like you're actually diminishing that. I'm not saying it's bad or whatever.
Sorry, excuse me, sir. Could you move to the, yes, please.
Oh, it's here?
Yes, there it is.
Oh.
The podium.
What did I know? I've never, I don't know how that's being reimagined in the system to be more effective. You were talking about knowing that your going out and asking people to vote, and that you're getting a certain response back. It always seems that people are given a ballot, and they have this signature to sign for it, but I don't know how you account for all those things. I can imagine statistically you do such a thing, but as to the effectiveness of your advertising in a certain area, I don't know how you do a 101 evaluation of how well you did it. So are you going to use those rosters anymore, or that's what I was curious about for getting people out? Yeah.
Our plans are to move away from the use of those printed rosters with everybody's name because of having any voter can go to any vote center. Those are kind of no longer practical. We are looking at solutions for having that data made available to campaigns who are doing get out the vote and things like that electronically. So using our poll book system. And we do, just to say that we do, we will still, however, keep track of data. To your point about tracking which areas people are voting from or how well our messaging is reaching different areas, we will still be keeping voter registration and participation data by precincts, like different reporting areas, as well as tracking them by so which precinct they live in addition to which vote center they actually go to. So that will be one way that data will still be available for us to assess our own voter education and outreach efforts, as well as other community organizations, community partners, campaigns, parties, and everybody else to do their own assessment as well.
Any other comments? Okay, then with that, we can end the hearing, and we just wanted to remind everyone that comments will close today. Another comment period will open up as soon as the amended draft has been published. So any other further comments, please get it all in, send it through online or email by tonight so that we can incorporate it into the amended draft. And thank you and good night.
And again, I just want to say thank you so much for coming out, taking the time to come out tonight to give us your feedback and input and share some of the other feedback from other community organizations and advocates. So we really appreciate that. And again, as I said, we received over 200 pieces of comments and feedback in the last month, 2 months through our consultations and through these hearings. And it's so valuable. For instance, we already, like some of you had mentioned about doing ads and radio in certain languages in certain areas. So we've already been working with new media outlets that we hadn't utilized before. So it's just things like that, as an example, have been so helpful. So again, just thank you so much for the feedback. Appreciate you taking the time to read the 250 plus page document that's available online. And our amended draft, when that comes out, I hope again that you'll take the time to read the amended draft and provide us feedback. And again, thank you for coming, and I hope you have a wonderful night.